Welcome to Roav Perfect classes. In this video, I will discuss most important questions of chapter Money and Credit of Economics of class 10th according to CBSE and Punjab School Education Board. These questions are important for 5 marks. Chapter name is Money and Credit. Now first question that is most important is what is the basic objective of self help groups? How do they work? How do they work? Describe any 4 advantages, or you can say benefits or merits of self help group for the poor. And second most important question is banks and cooperatives help people in obtaining cheap and affordable loans. Which values according to you does this support? And next question important is what is credit? What is credit? Why is cheap and affordable credit important for the development of country? Now next important question is which government body supervises the functioning of formal sources of loans in India explain its functioning. Now next important question is, what are the various sources of credit in rural areas? Which one of them is the most dominant source of credit, and why? Now next most important question is, how do banks play an important role in the economy of India? Explain. And last important question is, how can the formal sector loans be made beneficial for poor farmers and workers? Suggest any 5 measures. Now I am going to explain about these important questions. First question is, what is the basic objective of self-help groups? How do they work? And describe any 4 advantages or benefits or merits of self-help group for the poor. Now I am going to explain first questions. The basic objective of self-help groups is to organize rural poor, particularly women belonging to one neighborhood into small self-help groups, that is 15 to 20 members in this group. These members save regularly and the amount varies from rupees 25 to 100. These members save regularly from rupees 25 to 100 or more depending upon their ability to save. Means self-help group in self-help groups 15 to 20 members are included. They save regularly amount from rupees 25 to rupees 100, at least rupees 25 to rupees 100 or more depending upon their ability to save. For organizing rural poor, especially women which are belonging to neighborhood of the self-help groups, small self-help groups. Now, its advantages. The advantages of self-help groups are: first, the members can take small loans. The members can take small loans from the group itself to meet their needs. The members can take small loans from the groups itself to meet their needs, and the group charges interest on these loans, which is still less than what money lenders charge. According to first point, members take small loans from groups for fulfilling their own needs, and group charges interest on loan less as compared to money lenders. Money lenders are those persons who give the loan to poor people at the highest rate of interest. Now, second advantage is after a year or two, means after 1 or 2 years, if group is regular in saving, if group is regular in saving, it becomes eligible for availing loan from bank. It will become eligible for taking loan from bank, which is sanctioned in the name of group to create the self-employment opportunity. To create self-employment opportunity. All important decisions regarding the loan, purpose and amount of interest, non-payment of loan, these all are taken by group members. In second point, after a year or 2 years, if group is regularly saving the money, then that group will be become eligible for taking loan from bank as the name at the name of the group to create self-employment opportunities. And all other important decisions like the loan, regarding loan, what's the purpose of loan, amount of interest, non-payment of loan, these all decisions are taken by the group members. For example, small loans are given to members for releasing mortgaged land, meeting working capital needs, for getting assets like sewing machine, handlooms, cattle, etc. The member of the small group can take the loan from self-help groups for releasing their mortgaged land, for fulfilling their capital needs, for getting new assets like the sewing machine, handlooms, cattle, etc. Now, third advantage is since non-payment of loan is dealt with seriously by group members. Since non-payment of loans is dealt means deal by group members seriously. So banks are willing to lend to the poor women when organized in self-help groups. Even though they have no collateral as such. Collateral means asset. Collateral means asset. Even they have no collateral as such for giving as a mortgage, for taking loan, they can get the loan from self-help groups to become financially self-reliant. And fourth advantage is the regular meetings of the group give a platform. Give a platform to discuss and act on a variety of social issues. Variety of social issues such as health, nutrition, domestic violence, etc. This is first most important question. Now next, second question that is important. Banks and cooperatives help people in obtaining cheap and affordable loans. Which values according to you does this support? Answer of this question. Answer of question 2 is cheap and affordable loans help people to grow crops. To grow crops, do business, set up small scale industries, or trade in goods. Cheap and affordable loans help the people to grow the crops, do business, set up the small scale industries, or trade in goods. And this promotes self reliance and financial security. And independence of people. And this promotes protection. Of the relatively poor against, you can say, protection of the relatively poor against corrupt, money lenders. And third, this promotes reduction of poverty. And fourth point is it helps in countries' development. So we can say that banks and cooperatives help the people in obtaining cheap and affordable loans, and by this they can help people to grow crops, do business, set up small scale industries or trade in goods. And they also promote the self-reliance, financial security, independence of people. They also provide the protection of relatively poor against corrupt money lenders because they provide the loan at the lowest rate as compared to corrupt money lenders who take the highest rate of interest if they give the loan to poor. And it also tried to reduce the poverty, and indirectly they help in countries' development. Now next question is, what is the credit and what is the credit? What is credit? Why is cheap and affordable credit important for the development of country? And this question is also related to second question, because in this question also discuss about credit, about loans, and this question will be come in other way. What is a credit, and explain with an example how credit plays a vital and positive role for the development. This question will also come in this form. Now, answer of this question is question number 3. Answer of this question is, credit means loan. Credit means loan. Credit means loans, and in credit it refers to an agreement. It refers to an agreement in which lender supplies the borrower with money. Lender supplies the borrower with money, gold or services in return for the promise for future repayment. Credit means loans, and it is an agreement between the lender and borrower, because in this lender supplies the borrower with money, gold or services in return for the promise for future repayment. Now I am going to discuss about why it is important for the country's development. Why? The first reason of importance for the country's development, the first point is, it is crucial for the country's growth. It is important or crucial for growth of the country. Because if country is economically developed, then country will be developed. So cheap and affordable credit is crucial for the country's growth and economic development, because credit is in great demand for various kinds of economic activities. Because credit in great demand for various kinds of economic activities like big or small investments, for setting up a business, for buying any car, for buying houses, for fulfilling study, for education loan. These all purposes, there are so many purposes for which credit is most important thing which is used by the people, and so we can say that credit is great demand, in great demand today. Today credit is in great demand for fulfilling various types of the economic activities, for fulfilling various types of needs of the people, like they want to if they want to invest in the business, they have no money, they can take the credit and they can invest their money in the business, and after the after getting the profit they can repay that loan to the bank, and they can get the credit for setting up their any type of business. They can be setting for buying the cars, houses, for getting the educations, higher educations. They can take the loan from the bank, they can take the credit from the bank with the agreement for future repayment. And second reason is in rural areas credit helps in the development of agriculture. Rural area means village area. In rural areas it helps in agriculture by providing funds to the farmers so that they can buy the seeds, fertilizers and expensive pesticides for protecting their crops. So we can say that according to second point, second reason is that in rural area, in village area, credit helps in the development of agriculture by giving funds to farmer so that they can buy the seeds, fertilizers, expensive pesticides. And third reason, manufacturers need credit. It can help the manufacturers because manufacturer need credit for buying the raw material or fulfilling ongoing expenditures of the production. And the credit is that term, that thing which helps in the purchase of plant, machinery, equipment, etc. to manufacturers. And according to third point, credit helps the manufacturers for buying raw material or to meet ongoing their expenditure of production. They also help in purchasing of plant, machinery and equipment. And fourth reason is some people need to borrow for illness. Means credit is also help to people for illness, marriages, etc. According to fourth point, the reason behind of development of the country by credit is that some people, they want to borrow money for illness, for marriages of their children and for educations of the children. Thus cheap and affordable credit is most important, most crucial for the country's growth and economic development. These are the reasons why we say that cheap and affordable credit is crucial for the country's growth and economic development. Now next question is, that is most important in money and credit, which government body supervises the functioning of formal sources of loans in India? Explain its functioning. And answer of this question is which body supervises the functioning of formal sources? That body name is the Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India. That is known as RBI. The Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of formal sources of loans. What are the functions of RBI? Reserve Bank of India's, what are the functions of Reserve Bank of India? Functions. What types of operations performed by the Reserve Bank of India? RBI requires commercial banks. RBI requires commercial banks to maintain a minimum cash balance out of the deposits they receive. Means RBI can not work alone. They need commercial banks to maintain a minimum cash balance out of the deposits they have received. And RBI monitors, or you can say supervises, that banks, monitors that banks who actually maintain the cash balance. Maintain the cash balance. Third function of RBI. RBI sees the banks who give loans not just for profit making, not just for profit making businesses and traders, but also to small cultivators, small scale industries and small borrowers and self-help groups, that is known as SHGs. Means RBI sees those banks who give the loans not for the just making the not for just to making profit able business or traders. They can also provide those cultivators who wants to start their small scale business and small scale industries, small borrowers who wants to take the loan small amount for buying their machines, seeds, etc. And self help groups, they also provide loans to self help groups. And third function of RBI is to issue the guidelines. Guideline means rules, or you can say instructions for fixing the rate of interest on deposits and lending by commercial banks. And fourth is periodically, that will be monthly, after 2 months, after 3 months, after 4 months, quarterly, and half yearly or yearly. Periodically, banks have to submit information to the RBI on how much they are lending and to whom, at what interest rate, etc. In this question, I taught you that the Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of formal sources of loans in India. The main functions of Reserve Bank of India is to set up the commercial banks so that they can maintain minimum cash balance out of the deposits they have received, and they also monitors those banks who actually maintain the cash balance. Secondly, Reserve Bank of India watches those banks who give the loans not just for the profit making business or trade, but also to small cultivators, small scale industries, small borrowers, and self-help groups, etc. And the Reserve Bank of India also issue the guidelines for fixing the rate of interest on which on the deposits and lending amount which are given by commercial banks. And they also periodically submit the information. Those banks submit the information to RBI on how much they are lending and to whom, at what rate of interest they will earn taken from the people on credit, on loan. These all things are supervised by the Reserve Bank of India. Now next most important question is, what are the various sources of credit in rural areas and which one of them is most dominant source of credit and why? What are the various sources of credit in rural areas and why? The money lenders are most dominant amongst sources of credit for rural households. Means money lenders are most important role. Money lenders play most important role for giving loans to people in rural areas. Money lenders are the most dominant amongst the sources of credit for rural households. They constitute an informal source of credit. They constitute informal source of credit. Source of credit. They charge a very high rate of interest on loans as they do not require any collateral. They charge a very high rate of interest. Charge very high rate of interest on loans as they do not require any collateral, any asset for mortgaging. They are the most convenient source of credit in the rural areas. Money lenders are those those person who play the most important role in dominating source of credit for rural households. We can say that money lenders play most important role for giving loans to people in rural areas because they constitute informal source of credit. They charge the very high rate of interest without taking any collateral for giving the loan. They are most convenient source of credit in the rural areas for people. And in village, in rural areas, other sources of credit, other sources of credit in rural areas. Other sources of credit are, first is cooperative societies. First is cooperative societies. And second one are agricultural traders, relatives, and friends. And third is commercial banks. Commercial banks. Now first point is cooperative societies. Cooperative societies. Cooperative societies are another major source of rural credit. They are a source of formal sector credit. Cooperative societies are formal sector credit, source of formal sector credit. Members of a cooperative sectors, their resources for helping one another. For example, farmers cooperatives, weavers cooperatives, they offer cheap credit in rural areas for their members. Once these loans are repaid, another round of loans is offered. Cooperative societies are another major source of rural credit who give the credit to those person who wants to loan. They get the loan through the farmers cooperatives, weavers cooperative, etc. Cooperatives which are made by the members. They offer cheap credit in rural areas for their members. Once these loans are repaid, Then again these cooperative societies offer them next loans. And second point, agricultural traders, relatives and friends are the other informal source of rural credit. Some farmers borrow money from agricultural traders who supply the farm inputs such as seeds, fertilizer, pesticides, etc. They take loan from those traders on the credit at the beginning of the cropping season and repay the loans after the harvesting that crop. Means some farmers borrow money from agricultural traders who supply them seeds, fertilizer, pesticides on credit at the starting of the cropping season. When they harvest that crop, then they repay that loan to the agricultural traders. They can also take the loan from their relatives or friends and they repay the loans after the completing their work. And third point is the commercial banks who provides the credit to rural households, rural people. However, not many rural households borrow from these banks as they require proper documentation and collateral because it has need proper documentation and collateral. Now you can see there are two source of credit which are informal and one source of credit that is formal. Cooperative societies, agricultural traders, relatives and friends. These are the informal source of credit who give the loan to needy people who wants to take the money for their business, small scale business, for their cropping, for their cropping crops, etc. But commercial banks are formal banks. We can say that these are the formal source of credit. Those provide the loan to those people who can give any assets for the mortgage for giving the loan, and it requires proper documentations and collateral. So that's why it is a formal source of credit. But people take these loans. People take the loans from these banks very less because they need proper documentation and collateral. Now, next most important question is, how do banks play an important role in economy of India? How do banks play important role in economy of India? And answer of this question is banks help people to save their money. Banks help people to save money. And they help people to take money as a credit, or you can say as a loan for their business, etc. We can say that banks help people to save their money and keep their money in safe custody at safe custody. They ensure the people for their money that is safe in their bank. They give the surety to people that money is safe in their bank. People deposit their money with banks, so that people deposit their money in the bank. Banks accept the deposits and pay the interest on deposits. People have the provision to withdraw their money as and when they require. We can say that bank helps the people to save their money in their bank in safe custody, and they give the interest on their deposits, and people can withdraw their money at any time when they require. Second, banks also grant loans. Banks also grants loans to people who want for a variety of purposes. In times of need, individual, business houses, industries, they can borrow money from the banks. And third, credit provided by banks is a crucial for the country's growth. In first point, I have discussed about that banks help people to save money, and second, to take money as a credit or loan for the business or any many purposes. So we can write these points in 2 points like this. We can also write banks help people to save money and keep their money in safe custody. To ensure safety of the money, to ensure safety of their money, people deposit their money with banks, and banks accept their deposits and pay interest to them, and people have the provision to withdraw their money as and when they require. And second point, you can also write that banks also provide the loans to people who wants to, and credit provided by banks. Third point you can write, third point is credit provided by banks is the crucial role for the country's development. Next point is credit is a crucial for the country's development. So we can say that credit which is provided by banks is a very crucial for the country's growth and economic development, because credit is needed for all kind of economic needs to set up the business, buy car, houses, etc. And next point is, you can say banks also help people in obtaining cheap and affordable loan. Cheap and affordable loans. Bank also help to people to get the cheap and affordable loans in rural areas. And this can help people to grow the crops, to business, set up the small scale industries or trade in goods, and they also provide the help indirectly in the country's development. They should do so that relatively poor people do not have to be depend on the informal sources of credit. Those are money lenders who give them loan at a high rate of interest. Now we can say that banks play very important role in the economy of India. And last question is, how can formal sector loans be made beneficial for poor farmers and workers Suggest any 5 measures. In this question, we have to write that formal sector loans can be made beneficial for poor farmers and workers in the following way. Formal sector loans can be beneficial for poor farmers and workers in the following way. Workers in the following way. First way, by creating greater awareness among farmers about formal sector loans. By creating awareness among farmers and workers about formal loan sector. We can say that formal loan sector या formal sector loan. Formal sector loan. First of all, we have to create awareness among people about the formal sector loan. Second, process of providing loans should be easier. Process of providing loan should be easier. It should be simple, fast and timely. It should be simple, fast and timely. And next point is, more number of nationalized banks and cooperative banks should be opened in rural sectors. Nationalized and cooperative banks should be set up in rural sectors. Banks and cooperatives should increase facility of providing loans so that dependence on informal sources of credit reduces. These banks should be provided loan facilities so that people of rural areas or sectors cannot depend on these banks should be provided loan facility so that people of rural areas could not go for loan to money lenders who gave them loan who give them loan at high rate. The benefits of loan should be extended, should be increased to poor people and small scale industries. And while formal sector loans need to be expanded, it's necessary that everyone receives these loans. It's very important the formal credit is distributed more equally so that poor people can benefit from cheaper loans. These are the important questions of chapter Money and Credit. You have to prepare these questions for your final exam, which are going to held in February month. So you have to prepare these questions in proper way. If you prepare these important questions, then you can attend all questions of these chapters from starting to ending point, which I explain in this video. You have to listen properly and learn these questions and understand these questions, and you can make new questions if questions are given on other way in your exam. So you have to prepare these questions properly. If you like my video, please like and share my channel for next coming videos of important questions of social study of class 10th, and share with your friends and click on like button, because your one click on like which give me more motivation to make new videos for your exam. Thank you.